Hello and welcome to another episode of DyerTimes. I'm your host David Dyer, and here with me I have Amanda Litton.
Hi.
Who is actually our blogger for DyerOutdoor.com, which is pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about that blog.
I actually do an outdoor blog from the female perspective, and we do a little bit of everything actually. Hunting, camping, fishing.
Yeah, she's had a big thing on turkey hunting here
Absolutely.
lately, which is pretty cool.
Many posts.
Definitely. So I'll actually put that link in the description below so you can check out some of her work. But today we're going to take into the outdoors the Light My Fire knife, which actually has a Mora blade from Frost of Sweden, or Mora of Sweden. So let's go take a look at that. So here we have the Light My Fire knife with the Mora blade. The company that actually makes them is called Light My Fire, and it's the Swedish fire knife with the Mora blade, which is that reliability that you come to know and love from Mora, which is your 12C27 steel, that great Swedish steel that you have there. The blade itself is about 4 inches long with a Scandi grind that runs almost the length of it. There's a secondary grind here on the end of the blade that actually talked to my distributor who talked to Mora saying, why does this exist? And turns out they just wanted to distinguish this blade from the companion series. So it is more or less a cosmetic grind. I can't really say it makes the blade any weaker or any stronger. We still can use this blade for an array of things, from making feather sticks to batoning with it, which we're going to demonstrate here in just a little bit.
Absolutely.
So the unique thing about this knife, the one thing that I really like about it, is it pretty much will bring fire to you. Not only can you manipulate wood with the blade into a manageable tinder, but then you can also strike really nice hot sparks into it from the fire steel that is conveniently concealed inside the pommel of the knife. So very cool. What are your thoughts?
I think this knife is very practical, especially if you are someone who is outdoorsy and you go hunting or camping a lot. You have the knife aspect, which will obviously help you if you need to cut up something, or you're out hunting and you need to field dress an animal. The fire aspect is definitely I think the coolest aspect, because you can use this at a campsite, especially if you are not a smoker or someone who would typically have matches or lighters in your car. This is a really handy tool. Everything's right here.
And you can use it not only to start fires, but if you've got a stove, a barbecue grill, any of those things, it's going to be very effective for all those uses.
Right.
The blade itself, or the knife itself, comes in 5 colors, which you see here: the black, orange, red, blue, and in the green that you see there. They typically run around $29, $30, up to maybe you might catch them at 35 bucks. If you actually go to DyerOutdoor.com, which is our store, basically you can buy these if you see this video and you want one. So we're going to keep the links below and give you the option to do that should you want to. And we're also available for questions,
right.
If we don't get an answer through the video as well. So we're going to take this thing out and give it a try. See, really put us through its paces and check it out.
Can't wait.
So one of the things that makes this knife very nice is the fact that, like with most knives, it'll make a feather stick. So making a feather stick is something that we do to make making fire a little easier. Now, it's not necessarily tender, but it'll kind of help. So if this stick, even if it's wet, we can take that knife and carve the wet off and then shave the inside of the stick, which is the dry part, off to make our fire. So we can get good tender with it. So these little wispies are going to be great to start our fire with. They're going to catch a spark or catch a flame really easily because they're thin and they're dry. Did you have any trouble with it, or?
Actually not at all. Once I got the bark shaved off, it was relatively easy after that.
Very cool, very cool. Any pointers you'd give for anybody in the future kind of feathering sticks or making shavings for tinder?
Obviously, as a safety technique, I would make sure that you're taking the knife away from you, especially when you're getting down into the feathers here. I did seem to feel like it was a little harder to push down, so you never know when the knife might slip out and actually end up cutting you. So I would say cut away, people, cut away.
All right, well next what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how to take that little knife and tackle something like this.
Oh.
So every fire has multiple stages. The tender, your kindling, this kind of stuff to help it catch. But eventually you're gonna need something a little more substantial to transition into those larger pieces. So one of the things that we like to show with the Moras, with the Light My Fire, is how to baton, and the fact that it may be a small knife, but it's going to do a really good job tackling something this size.
Okay.
Let's try it out. All right, so batoning is basically a way of taking this small knife, instead, if you don't have a hatchet or something, a blade larger, and making bigger pieces of wood more manageable for fire, kindling, things like that. Or, you could make tools out of it, by shaving shavings off, shaving splinters off. So the way this is done is you're gonna find an area where you can get a good wedge on the log, because you want to, again, like you were saying just before, you want to make sure the knife kind of stays away from you.
Right.
So you'll notice that the blade, if we put this directly in the center, there's not really a lot of room out here. So we can put it more toward the edge here, and you can see that we've got a little bit more to work with.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is I like to set the blade so you can see it's kind of in there like a nail. I don't have to worry about it too much. So we're going to set it here. I'm going to grab another piece of wood, and I'm going to tap the other end of the knife. So the goal here is to slide that blade through the piece. Now we have a knot here which could give us a little bit of trouble.
Okay.
And it should split off, but it might get a little weird with some of the angles. So just something to pay attention to. So I'm going to let you try this out.
So we want to pick a side that doesn't have a knot. So
if you can, it makes it a little easier.
This I'm going to try for right here.
Okay, you might want to take a bigger bite than that.
Okay.
Watch your fingers.
And we want to set. Just kind of get it rock down in there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we're going to get our other piece of wood here. So now we're just going to tap this down.
Yep. Now the key here, I want you to notice what you're doing. So when you set this in here like this, you want to keep this hand as perpendicular to the log as you can.
Okay.
So you see how you don't have a whole lot here to work with now on this side.
Right.
So you're just going to keep hammering, not the middle here, but the side of your blade over here.
Okay.
And you can really hit it. You see that knot starting to give you trouble there.
Yeah.
But okay, now check this out. You've got the blade in here. You just want to be careful. We can just break that off. But you can see how this process works.
Right.
So now that we have this angle right here, we can set the blade here and take a triangular piece.
Okay.
So it's really just about working around the outside of the log. So go ahead and try that.
Much easier with a less of a chunk.
Yeah, and what you're doing, like I said, is you're getting manageable pieces here, manageable kindling, and you can just as easily either shave. Now you can manage shaving these down. Of course, like I said, this wood was a little more dead than I anticipated. With a more green piece, it's going to really split the length of the log. Although, like I said, this knot's giving us a little trouble.
Right.
But for a demonstration, it's working out all right.
Right.
We're just going to focus on getting that spark and getting it lit, so we can more or less just demonstrate the knife. I have my tender on a rope, and now I get made fun of horribly for this all the time. This tender on a rope, believe it or not, is naturally occurring. It's called fat wood. Now, it doesn't grow with this nylon cord out of the back of it. It'd be kind of cool though if it did.
Absolutely.
But this is more or less when a tree, when the sap comes down to the stump and then the tree cuts down or falls over or cuts down, is cut down, and this is what's left. So it's really just a very heavily resin impregnated piece of wood. So it's actually water resistant, more or less waterproof. So you can carry this, and even if it gets wet, you can still create dust. The way this is used is you can shave down it like this, and you create these really nice little powdery flakes that you can throw a really great spark into. Or you could just as easily do long shavings.
Okay.
And you can see how tough this wood is. I mean, it's pretty. So these, I am not ashamed to say, I also sell for $5, mind you, DyerOutdoor.com. So you can have your friends make fun of you too for being a Hollywood survivalist. But I say, if it's wet out and I have it and you don't, I'm going to be warm. So we have several different means for creating our fire, so we're just going to experiment with a few and go from there. One of the unique things about the Mora blade in conjunction with the Light My Fire is Mora designed the tops of their blades at nice steep right angles, and they're kind of, I don't want to say they're sharp, but they're milled edges. So when you run the back of this across your fire steel, it's not going to damage your blade, and it's going to throw some really nice sparks, just like that. So a couple different options. Like I said, we can get us a nice green leaf here, and you'd want to do this obviously not in a high windy area, pretty much like we are, but you know, for the purposes of film, you do what you gotta do. So if you can take this and basically just put your knife flat on that and just shave, you know, there you go, and just shave. Yeah, you can get angry with it. Get you a good
like the
large
corners.
pile.
The corners are
Yeah,
better.
that's fine. So now you don't have to use your tender on a rope here, but it works pretty well. This is going to burn pretty much just like birch bark, you know, paraffin, that kind of stuff, because it's or like pine pitch, you know, really similar to this. These are all things you could find naturally in the woods. We're just going to make it a little easier because we're demonstrating a knife and not how to make fire.
Right.
Ish. So okay, we have our pile of shavings here. If you can throw a spark into there and light that. Another one of the really great things about the Light My Fire knife is it's excellent for lighting barbecue grills, camp stoves, and in this case, my MSR backpackable stove, which is one of my favorite little camping accessories, which we should definitely do a video on that at some point. We'll check it out. But anyhow, let me turn the gas on if you'll do the honors of lighting it. Just like that, in about 3 minutes, we can have hot soup.
Sounds delicious.
We really had a lot of fun out here today with the Light My Fire knife with the Mora blade. It's a really excellent product. I really enjoyed watching her learning how to use it. What are your takeaways with the blade?
You know, I think it's important that we practice with whatever tools we're going to use out in the woods.
Absolutely.
Definitely, that was probably one of the biggest downfalls for me was, you know, this was
the
the
first
first
time, yeah.
So definitely work at it, practice what you're going to be using. And also the fact that you could get the knife wet and pick it up, dry it off a little bit, and make sparks with it already.
Pretty much,
so,
yeah, you're ready to start a fire.
Yeah.
So is this something that you would carry in your own gear or something that you
Absolutely,
would have?
yeah. We go camping a lot, especially in the summer. So, you know, if you're out and you're wanting to start a fire to cook dinner, or, you know, you're cold and you need a fire.
Impress your friends.
Exactly. This is a way to make people want to be you.
Well, the Mora knife itself, the way I look at this particular Light My Fire knife, for me, as an avid backpacker and camper, it really becomes a backup blade. So something that may not be, you know, it's not going to be my primary knife. I usually enjoy something with a little more hefty tang.
Right.
You know, it's on my hip, you know, camp use, you know, the fact that you've got fire right there if you need it. Pretty quick, all in one package. And I'm a big fan with any type of survival, any type of camping, any type of hiking where I can take two products and make them into one, carry less. This weighs about 3.3 ounces, so it's not a whole lot of weight. That's the sheath included.
Yeah.
So, you know, as a spare knife that even if you throw in the bottom of your backpack, you know, could save your life. You never know.
Right.
So, Amanda, really appreciate having you on the episode today.
Thank you.
If you'd like to check out a little more about what she has to offer in some of her blog, it's out every Wednesday on DyerOutdoor.com, which we'll put the link below with all that information on it. Be sure and subscribe to those. They're excellent. And if you'd like to see a little bit more of what DyerTimes has to offer, you can click right here for an excellent video on the Eagle's Nest Outfitters one-link camping hammock system. It's kind of the all-inclusive hammock.
Neat.
Oh, it's very cool.
Neat.
A lot of fun. So definitely check that out. Or if you'd like to see, you know, me get tased 6 or 8 times, right here we have the Taser Strike Light video. Basically pair up with Ernie Boggs, which is Team USA, you know, internationally recognized judo master. He's just amazing. And you know, so he teaches us a little bit, and I get to
taste a lot.
It was a good time, right? Anyhow, so that, you know, some self-defense type stuff right here. It was pretty cool. Or if you'd like to just learn some more about some really neat things out in the world, this is Knob Creek. It's actually the world's largest machine gun shoot, and we had a whole lot of fun out there. So that's just a really neat video. They hold that twice a year. So something that you might be interested in and want to check out. But again, Amanda, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, David.
Hey, no problem. I was your host, David Dyer. This was DyerTimes, and I'll see you next time.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.